Mandela and Trump, the leadership code few understand. When you hear the names Nelson Mandela and Donald Trump, you might think of two worlds so far apart they could never touch. One was a revolutionary turned president, a global symbol of forgiveness and unity. It's not about ideology. It's not about popularity. It's about mastering the art of influence, resilience, and strategic thinking when the stakes are at their highest. This is not a story about politics. This is a story about what it takes to lead against all odds. Whether you admire or criticize them, Mandela and Trump share a set of leadership traits that allowed them to defy expectations, rewrite narratives, and inspire millions, sometimes dividing, sometimes uniting, but always moving people to act. And if you listen closely, you'll find lessons you can apply in your own life, business, or mission, no matter where you stand on the political spectrum. First, the courage to own the room. Mandela walked into rooms filled with men who had once called for his death, and he looked them in the eye with dignity and calm authority. He understood that leadership is not just about having a title, it's about commanding respect without demanding it. Whether you agreed with him or not, you listened. That's the first code. Leaders don't wait for respect. They create the conditions for it through confidence, presence, and unwavering belief in their mission. Second, the mastery of symbols. Mandela wore the Springboks jersey during the 1995 Rugby World Cup, transforming it from a symbol of division into a national emblem of unity. He knew the power of visuals and timing. Trump understood this instinctively as well, from the Make America Great Again hat to staging rallies that became iconic cultural moments. Symbols speak to emotion, and emotion drives action. Leaders who ignore this are forgotten. Leaders who master it are remembered. Third, the art of resilience. Mandela spent 27 years in prison, enduring isolation, physical hardship, and the constant attempt to break his spirit. In the leadership code, resilience isn't about avoiding failure, it's about refusing to be defined by it. Fourth, controlling the narrative. Mandela never allowed his opponents to define him as merely a rebel or a threat. He reframed himself as a peacemaker, a bridge builder, and eventually the father of a democratic South Africa. Trump, no stranger to controversy, understood that the one who controls the conversation controls the perception. Leaders who master narrative understand that perception often shapes reality more than facts do. Fifth, connection with the base. Mandela walked through townships, shook hands, and listened to the fears and hopes of ordinary people. They both understood that leadership is not maintained from an ivory tower. It is sustained through constant engagement with the people you serve or represent. Sixth, strategic patience. Mandela could have sought revenge after his release, but he waited, negotiated, and built alliances that would secure long-term peace. Trump, despite his reputation for impulsiveness, often played a longer game in business and politics than critics expected, waiting for the right moment to strike in negotiations or public battles. The leadership code demands knowing when to act fast and when to hold your position until the timing is perfect. Seventh, turning adversity into a weapon. Mandela's imprisonment, meant to silence him, became the very thing that made him a legend. The longer he was behind bars, the more powerful his image grew. Trump, likewise, often used media attacks to rally his supporters, framing himself as the underdog battling an unfair system. Leaders who can turn their weaknesses into sources of strength gain an advantage that cannot be easily taken away. Eighth, inspiring loyalty. Mandela's allies stayed with him through decades of struggle, because he inspired a cause greater than themselves. Trump's supporters often show a similar loyalty, not always because they agree with every detail, but because they feel he represents a fight they want to be part of. True leadership isn't just about policies or deals, it's about making people believe they're part of something historic. Ninth, embracing calculated risk. Mandela knew negotiating with the apartheid government could alienate parts of his movement, but he took the risk for the greater goal of unity. Trump built his career by betting big on real estate deals and political moves that others thought impossible. The leadership code teaches us that without risk, there is no reward worth having. Finally, leaving a legacy that sparks debate. Mandela's life remains a case study in reconciliation, leadership, and the power of forgiveness. But that's part of the code. Leaders who change the course of events are never universally loved. They are measured by the size of the impact, not the comfort of consensus. At its core, the leadership code that Mandela and Trump share is not about style or morality. It's about results, influence, and the ability to shape history in their own image. You can agree with one and disagree with the other. So what can you take from this? You don't need to be a president, a billionaire, or a freedom fighter to apply these principles. You can own the room in your workplace. You can create symbols that represent your personal brand. You can be resilient when life tries to knock you down. You can control the narrative others tell about you. You can connect with your audience, wait for the right moment, turn adversity into advantage, inspire loyalty, take calculated risks, and focus on the legacy you want to leave behind. And perhaps that's the ultimate code. Leaders are not defined by the hand they redealt, but by how they play it. If this exploration of the leadership code resonated with you, imagine what applying even one of these principles could do for your own life. You have more influence than you think. You have more resilience than you realize. And you have the power to lead in your own way. The world is full of spectators. Choose to be a player. If you believe leadership is about action, not titles, and if you want to learn from the most unlikely pair in modern history, then don't just stop here. Share this video, leave a comment with your thoughts on the leadership code, and subscribe for more powerful insights from history's most influential figures. Your leadership journey starts